Hello, I am Moxie. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Vera. I'm saying it right. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah, Vera. Vera Wylde. I love. As soon as I saw the name, I'm like, I'm gonna make a guess. Content creator. Looked, it was like content creator. It's like, I nailed it. Like, that's a perfect name for a content creator. So I freaking love it. So for the people that this will be their first introduction to you, tell us a little bit about who you are. How long have you been doing content creation? What kind of content do you make?
Oh my goodness. I
start
need to
real easy.
Well, I need to come up with the short version of this because I do too much.
I love that.
So the spicy content is not the only thing I make. That is, while it's something I enjoy very much, it is very much a side gig. I'm first and foremost basically a geek content creator under the name Council of Geeks. So that's on YouTube, and there's a secondary channel as well. And so that is my main source of income.
I love it.
But under Vera Wylde, I have a separate YouTube channel on Blue Sky. That's what I'm on TikTok under. And I also perform burlesque as Vera Wylde. So while there will occasionally be bleed over between the geeky stuff and the spicy stuff, because that's how my brain works, that there are sort of two sides to the stuff that I do. And there's a bunch of other side stuff I could list, but I know we only have so much time.
The spicy content creation, I'm assuming that like with all of the ShopWinky stuff, that's a little more the direction that we're going.
Yes. So it was something that I got into because of three factors. The first one being a near constant underlying background radiation of, I kind of want to do this, but in my 20s and into my 30s, it was kind of this like, yeah, but like it might impact all this other stuff. And I don't know this other stuff. And I was sorting out a lot of gender nonsense. But then what happened was we hit 2020. And the first thing that happened was I can't perform burlesque because, while the stripping isn't the only part of burlesque, there's a lot more to it. That venue was kind of an outlet for some of those feelings I'd always had, and suddenly that was gone. And then the final kicker was my first TikTok account got banned because I made a joke about not having an OnlyFans, and they banned me immediately for referencing the site at all. And at that point, I basically went, you know what? If you're going to treat me as if I do this anyway, and I kind of am inclined to, why don't I just start actually doing it?
I may as well do the thing that you're mad at me about that I was not doing. So have you kind of like with it kind of starting from a place of more spite of like, you know what, like I've kind of always wanted to try this, and now this has been like the catalyst of like, you know what, are you still finding it to be as like fun, satisfactory, fulfilling as you had hoped it was with those like underlying feelings of I want to do this?
I really am. Like the spite is gone, but I'm still doing it. So while the spite may have gotten me here, that wasn't gonna keep. That wasn't gonna sustain. But like I enjoy these things, and like part of it is like I'm just a very sexual person, a very sexual being. So like I'll just be scrolling TikToks and I'll see people like do stuff or do a transition or like bring something up, and like that makes me want to do something that TikTok would ban me for doing. I have somewhere else I can put that. Especially when I started, a lot of it was like dirty versions of TikToks that I had clean versions up on my account. I'm on my third account now. I got banned a second time for a different reason.
You know what? I feel like I'm right there with you.
I actually have that as part of my burlesque intro, banned twice from TikTok. I do still enjoy it. Like the main thing that I'm trying to get more into at this point, that is difficult just because of where I am geographically, is I would love to do more collaborative stuff with other people who do this kind of work. There is not a very large population of people who do this kind of work in Vermont, and most of the people who I have met, through online means that I would feel comfortable doing it with, it's like, well, that's a 3-hour drive.
The collaborative stuff I know will definitely be able to kind of take off with ShopWinky, because not only do we have, ShopWinky just as it stands, but also like the Discord where people can kind of have more of like the community connection, be able to like see what content creators are coming out with, teases that they're like, I'm getting ready to release this, or I'm going to be working with this person. And it kind of allows for a lot of people to kind of connect to like potentially work together. So that I love that you're like coming on to this, because that's the same thing that like a lot of other people have expressed too, is like, I want to be able to collaborate. It's the want is there, the means little bit different. So what has been the most surprising thing for you, both either bad, good, both, the most surprising thing about moving into content creation of that kind?
I think the most surprising thing is how little it actually impacted my life.
I feel like that's good for people to hear.
I mean, granted, it's worth noting that this is not something that I've moved to as my full-time occupation. So like if you're doing a move like that, it's obviously going to be very different. But and also it's worth stressing, I have the benefit that I am self-employed and work from home. Mm-hmm. So I don't have the risk of like, oh, what if my coworkers find out? What if this, what if that? So without that, like even eventually my audience on my main geeky channel, they are aware. Most of them don't interact with that side of what I do, but like it's not a secret. And at this point, it's just like, yeah, that's part of what I do. If you like it, go ahead and check it out. So it was a really pleasant surprise that it was not as much of an upheaval to my life as the fears that had kept me from doing it earlier in my life were kind of telling me it was going to be.
Yeah. I feel like we drill that into people. Like there is a legitimate, like very real founded fear of, people's bosses or whatever finding out. Like that's a legitimate thing that does happen and can cause problems. But I feel like we have societally kind of drilled that into people so much that they kind of forget that unless it's in that scenario of like, yeah, you work for a company that definitely would not like this, it almost comes off as more like just the prudish attitude of like, no, you shouldn't be doing this. What would people think? And it's like, what do you mean, what would people think? Who do you think's watching my content?
What would people think? I don't know. Who are these theoretical people and why do I care what they think?
Exactly. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, yeah, I like that people kind of get a chance to see and hear from people that are like, look, it's a very real fear, but not for everyone. And this can still be something that you do. How did you hear about ShopWinky? Like, how do we go from like, you've created this like content. Now, how do we connect it to ShopWinky?
Well, this was just because I was following and actually had already become mutuals with a few folks who are involved with it, like Dax and with Mr. Pierre. So like that was how it came onto my radar, because I was already kind of in that sphere with some of you folks.
So what was the thing that, because a lot of people have heard of it, a lot of, that same, like the people that you follow, all of that kind of stuff. What was the thing that took you from like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I've now heard about this. That's kind of cool. I'm going to join. I'm going to be a part of this.
The initial thing is just a very strong desire for this to succeed. I love this idea. And like, especially as we are pushed further into a place where so many websites, companies, corporations are pulling back from, pushing away from, or cutting off anything that vaguely indicates like this side of what people like to do. Etsy has become a nightmare to try and find anything adult related on, and just the inherent shame of it, and the idea of a place that not only is treating it as normal, like, yeah, and it's shopping and it's also this, because yeah, it's that kind of product. Why wouldn't we connect those two? And I know how that disconnect can be, because one of the things I have been doing over the last few years is I have had several different sex toy companies send me things that I do reviews on YouTube that get very few views because they are immediately deprioritized because they're marked for adults. And like, I still do it because they'll send me the stuff and I'm like, well, they sent it to me, I'll talk about it, but I have to kind of talk weird about it. And then of course there's the OnlyFans version of those same videos, which will include demonstrations, because like, I should just be able to show you how this works. Yeah. But for some stupid reason, I can't, even if I mark it for adults.
Especially from a site where it's like, I get that like OnlyFans kind of in the beginning it was subscription-based content. It wasn't like subscription-based spicy content. But like, be so for real. Why would you put a paywall up of like visual content? Like you had to know who was going to take that over in a big way. Like, and you're right, it should be. And that is one of the complaints I hear the most from people who do have like other sites, especially OnlyFans seems to get called out a lot by them specifically, because it's like, we're fine with people doing this. This is obviously what we're kind of known for now, but you can't do that. And you also can't do that. And you also can't do that. It's like,
there's a lot of weird restrictions. And like some of it is because like the company is actually based in the UK, which has some bizarre, very specific laws about what you are not allowed to depict. And because they're in the UK, even if you're not, they make you follow those rules. I have had a largely positive experience with OnlyFans, but I've also talked to other people who haven't. So I'm not going to pretend that the site isn't kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to hear. It is nice for people to hear that, like, to be able to come to their own conclusions about, like, okay, there are people that have had very good experiences and people that have not. And that right there is a good enough reason to kind of show, like, what we're trying to do is just that inconsistency. Like that, just why are people having such two very different experiences navigating your website when they kind of are doing very similar stuff? Maybe the actions are different, but like as far as what they're doing, you're already into that bubble. You may as well just like the squirting videos on OnlyFans being limited.
Yep.
And it was what got even weirder was because it was weird enough to me because they like, you know, no, it could look like urination. I'm like, so we're getting mad at what is like literally a bodily function that like what? All right, that's weird enough. Yeah. And then it got even weirder when the specification, because I started talking to a creator that like they were the one that flagged that I like listened to it and was like, wait a minute. They said that the specification was that if their hand was down there, it seemed to fly. The minute they removed their hand, that's when it flagged it as like it's doing it on its own. It's urination. Like, first of all, it may not be for everybody, but like, let's acknowledge the elephant in the living room, which is the urination thing is a kink for so many people.
It gets really weird. And again, some of it is tied to the fact that they're out of the UK, but like you can't do face sitting either, which like I know for some of the larger body creators, I know that has been a nightmare for them because that's like one of the main things they do.
What is the thing that you are most excited about, most looking forward to about being one of the ShopWinky VIPs?
I am most excited about the connections that can be made with other creators, with vendors, with the with the people who make the stuff, because like again, we can sometimes find shared places, safe discords or this or that, but to have a space that is basically kind of not 100% dedicated, but first and foremost about talking shop.
Yeah.
Like, so I actually had this. I said this to somebody who I caught up with just the other day, but like some of my favorite experiences in getting into this have just been the few times that I've just been able to sit down with someone else who does anything like this and just talk shop like it's any other gig.
And I think it's always surprising to hear people talk about it because the mannerisms and the tone are very just casual business. This is fun to talk about. And then you're listening to the actual words going...
Wait, what?
Right, yeah, exactly.
I go to a Doctor Who convention as often as I can because it is that specific.
I have the 10th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I have a Godzilla, like an old style Godzilla that takes up my whole thigh. I have Narsil from Lord of the Rings.
Very nice.
Card carrying nerd. I'm right there with you. You said that, and my brain was like, "You're supposed to be focusing on the spicy content." I'm like. But I want to talk about the nerd stuff. All right. So other than ShopWinky, where can people find you right now, Vera?
Honestly, if you just look around most social media sites, look for either Council of Geeks or Vera Wylde. You will find one or the other or both. And if you are interested in anything that I've done other than that, I have several written works that you can get. I have a novel called Dreams of Fire. It lists Nathaniel Wayne as the author. It's okay. I don't consider it a dead name. I just don't use it for most other things. But
I've written a book. That's amazing.
Well, I've written a book, I've written a novel, and I've written a play. All of which are available in various places. The novel's available to most places. You could actually get that one from your local bookstore through Ingram. It's okay if you don't know what that means. They will. So there's that. I have a podcast that I do with Jessie Gender from YouTube for anyone who knows her. So I have a lot. If you look for Council of Geeks or you look for Vera Wylde, you will find an abundance of nonsense. If you go to Council of Geeks, there's new videos there every single Saturday. And if you were to check out my OnlyFans, that is daily uploads. And it has been for almost 4 years. So there's a big back catalog you can browse through.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot. I mean, even just like getting the like stuff together to get it uploaded, that's good for you because that's a lot to do. Yeah. You also, like, I know that people listening to this that heard you mention burlesque and how long you've been involved in burlesque, they're going to want to see, like, you could easily help people out with, like, here is a great way to remove your gloves. Here's how I like to do, like.
I would love to.
I can't wait to see what you do with ShopWinky.
That's why I love burlesque, because I love telling stories through the art of removing clothes, because literally that's what drew me to it. Like, I start in this, I end in this. There is a story in that change.
I'm so excited that I got to talk to you. Vera, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Absolutely.